Ever find yourself admiring, like, a really well-made pair of shoes? The kind where you can just tell someone put a lot of care into how they were put together?
Oh, absolutely. The craftsmanship, the attention to detail, it's easy to overlook those things.
Right. And it made me think, who are the people behind those details? So today, we're taking a deep dive into the world of footwear stitching machine operators.
It's a fascinating field, really. When most people think about shoes, they think about the design, the brand, but the stitching, that's where it all comes together.
Okay, so break it down for us. What does a footwear stitching machine operator actually do? Is it as simple as it sounds?
Well, it's definitely more than just sewing a straight line. These are skilled professionals who use specialized machines, and we're talking different types of machines, like flatbed, arm machines, even column machines, all depending on the complexity of the shoe to stitch together the different parts of the shoe's upper.
The upper.
Right, the part that covers most of your foot. It's a crucial part of the shoe's structure and comfort.
Got it, got it. So I'm guessing those machines are a bit more heavy duty than your average sewing machine, huh?
Oh, yeah. You're working with all kinds of materials, different thicknesses, different textures. Imagine stitching thick, tough leather 1 minute, then switching gears to sew a delicate lining the
That's
next.
quite the range. Sounds challenging.
It definitely is. Each material needs a different needle, a different thread, a whole different approach. Like if you use the wrong needle on thick leather, you could damage the material, break the needle, really slow down production. Experienced operators, they can tell just by touch which needle is the right one for the job. It's pretty incredible.
Wow, so there's like this whole other level of skill involved. It's not just about operating the machine, it's about understanding the materials inside and out.
Exactly. You have to have a feel for how the materials will react, how the stitching will affect the fit and durability of the shoe.
That's fascinating. You mentioned different types of stitching machines earlier. What's the difference between them? Like, when would you use a column machine versus a flatbed?
Okay, so picture trying to stitch a seam on the rounded toe of a shoe. On a flatbed machine, it's almost impossible to get the right angle, the right tension. But a column machine, that's what it's made for.
Ah,
The vertical arm gives you the reach and precision you need for those curved areas. It's all about having the right tool for the job.
makes sense. So, a footwear stitching machine operator needs a good eye for detail, a steady hand, and some serious problem-solving skills.
Absolutely. You've got to be adaptable, resourceful, and a bit of a perfectionist all at the same time. It's a demanding job, but when you see a beautifully crafted shoe, you know the operator played a huge part in making that happen.
And speaking of making things happen, I imagine a job like this is not just about the technical skills, right? There's got to be room for creativity, for problem-solving on the fly.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, think about it. Every shoe, every material, even every stitch can present a unique challenge. You got to be able to think on your feet, adjust your technique, find solutions when things don't go according to plan.
So it's not like you're just repeating the same motions day in and day out. There's real artistry involved.
100%. And as you gain experience, you start to develop a deeper understanding of the craft. You move up the ranks from entry level to junior operator to senior operator. And with each step, you get more responsibility and more opportunities to really put your skills to the test.
So like a senior operator might be mentoring newer folks or tackling those really complex stitching patterns or even working directly with designers.
Exactly. Imagine a designer sketching out a new line of boots with all these intricate details, and they need someone who not only understands how to stitch those designs, but can advise on what's possible, what'll look best with different types of leather, what kind of thread will hold up. That's where a seasoned operator really shines.
It's like they become part of the design team almost.
In a way, yeah. They bridge the gap between the creative vision and the technical execution. It's a pretty cool dynamic.
It really is. Now, shifting gears a bit here, let's talk about the job market. Because having these specialized skills is one thing, but actually finding a job in today's world that can feel like a whole other challenge.
Tell me about it. It's a jungle out there, job boards, applications. It's a lot to navigate.
It can be completely overwhelming,
Okay.
especially when every website seems to want something different.
Right. Like how many versions of your resume can you possibly create? And then there's the whole CV thing, which, just to clarify, is essentially a more detailed resume, often used in industries where you need to showcase a lot of specialized experience.
See, this is why I'm glad we're having this conversation.
Yeah.
Because I feel like most people, myself included, just get lost in that whole process.
Yeah.
Seriously. It's like you need a PhD just to figure out how to apply for a job these days. Thankfully, that's where RoleCatcher comes in, right?
Exactly. I mean, that's the whole idea behind it, to like streamline the process, make it less intimidating. You know those job boards we were talking about, the ones that feel like a black hole of applications?
Uh-huh.
RoleCatcher pulls listings from all those different sites. So instead of having like a million tabs open trying to remember a million passwords, everything's right there in one place.
Okay, yeah, that alone is a game changer.
Yeah.
But what about the actual application part? How does RoleCatcher help you stand out from the crowd?
So it has this AI-powered feature, right? And this is where it gets kind of cool. It basically analyzes a job description, like the specific words they use, the skills they emphasize,
Okay.
and then it suggests changes to your resume, your CV, whatever you're using, to make it super relevant to that particular job.
Yeah.
So even if you're a footwear stitching machine operator, which, yes, that's a specialized field,
Yeah.
it can help you highlight those transferable skills that employers in other industries might be looking for.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like instead of sending out the same generic application to a million places, you're tailoring it to each specific job.
Exactly. You're showing the employer that you get it, you understand their needs, but it gets even better because we haven't even talked about the interview part yet.
Oh, don't get me started on interviews. That's my least favorite part of the entire process.
Right. Like palms are sweating. You're trying to remember everything you practiced.
And then you get those curveball questions, the ones that completely throw you off.
Exactly. But with RoleCatcher, you can actually practice answering common interview questions right there on the platform. They have this huge library of them, everything from tell me about yourself to those like behavioral ones, like tell me about a time you failed.
Those always get me.
Well, with RoleCatcher, you can practice them, get comfortable talking about those situations, and get this, it even has an AI that'll analyze your answers, give you feedback.
Whoa, hold on. The AI critiques your answers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like having a personal interview coach 24/7. It'll tell you if you're speaking clearly, if your answers are structured well, even if you sound confident enough.
It's both amazing and terrifying. I don't know if I'm ready for a robot to judge my every word.
I know, it sounds kind of wild, but it can be so helpful, especially for someone like, say, a footwear stitching machine operator who might be transitioning to a different field.
Because those skills, they don't always translate on paper.
Right. Like, you might be amazing at problem solving under pressure, at managing your time, at paying attention to detail, but you might not know how to articulate that in a way that's relevant to, say, a management position.
It's like, how do you explain that stitching a leather boot is basically the same as leading a team of people?
Exactly. But RoleCatcher, it helps you connect those dots. It helps you translate those skills for employers who might not see the connection right away.
It's like having a translator for your resume, for your interview skills, for your whole career path.
That's a great way to put it. It's about showing employers the value you bring no matter what your background is.
This has been, honestly, such a fascinating deep dive. We've gone from the meticulous craft of footwear stitching to like the future of work and AI-powered job hunting. It's amazing how everything's connected.
It really is.
And for all of you listening, we'll leave you with this thought. In a world that's becoming increasingly automated, more and more reliant on digital skills, how can we make sure that these traditional crafts, these valuable skills, how can we make sure they don't disappear? And what role can platforms like RoleCatcher play in bridging that gap, in connecting those skilled craftspeople with the jobs of tomorrow?
Yeah.
Something to think about.
Definitely. It's an important conversation to be having.
Absolutely. And on that note, thanks for joining us for another deep dive. We'll catch you next time.